Thanks very much to the Mona Lisa twins. Weren't they fantastic? Absolutely brilliant there. And an absolute pleasure to get them. We found them on YouTube and we've got them here now. And so I'm going to share them with the world. They're here researching to do about stuff about festivals and stuff like that. But now, at long last, if there was a trumpet and a herald, a real, what is it called? Medieval.
Yeah.
What do you call them big long... A flugelhorn, is it?
No, the big long. It's just a big. It's an old. A bugle.
A bugle. Oh, yeah,
that's the word.
A reveille, because we have Charlie McGettigan in for a split second to sing a couple of songs and have a quick chat. Charlie, it's been a long time. Been a long time coming, and we've been a long time together, and never. We're like a couple that's.
We've had a couple of adventures together. We had a great adventure in Germany one time.
Yeah.
And I remember we got locked out of the hotel.
Yes.
And nothing to do.
Oh, hold on! You better tell
tell
it to the blue screen.
Well, nothing to do, Paul. But he had to, we had to get in, and Germany are very close. If we say we close at 10:15, we close at 10:15. It's not after that. It's not before it. But we arrived back at about 10:20, and the place was closed, and nothing to do. The man here, but he had to up a drain pipe. Onto this small little roof, then up another drain pipe, and into somebody's room that the window was open up. And he climbed into the room. There was a man and woman in bed. Luckily enough, they weren't in flagrante, but they just sat up in the bed and said, Paul just said, hi, just passing through. And that was how we got into the hotel. Great time.
They actually said, they did say when I was passing, is this the son of Phelim Cox?
You wouldn't have time for a quick song.
But that's one of many, Charlie, because we go back. I'm not saying how many years.
Yeah.
But
you can say how many years. I don't care anymore.
Well, it's 32 years.
30 odd years, yeah.
I was 11.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, my first, I would have heard about you more rather than met you, because John Hannigan, first of all, came to Cavan in the 60s, around 65, 66, around that time. And he would come back every 3 weeks. He'd come back to Ballyshannon for the weekend, and he would have these great reports about all the musicians. Luckily enough, he got a job working for one of the mighty havens.
Yes.
Jimmy Smith had a dry cleaners, and John was in charge because John had worked in Ballyshannon at dry cleaning, and so he landed straight on his feet. And he was in straight away into all the musicians in the town, Mickey Brady and all the different. And if they played the guitar, John knew about them. That kind of way. I'm trying to think of the fellow. There was Oliver something or other, who was a bit like Johnny McAvoy, guitar vocalist. But this was back when this was kind of revolutionary.
Yes, yeah.
I can't think of his second name now, but John will kill me when I don't remember. Are you out there, John?
Are you there, John? You can shout it out.
Oliver who?
Oliver Kane.
Yes,
that's it.
From home, I think.
John Hannigan is with us. Another man who we have to get in here. Knowledge. I'm always at Dermy watching John Hannigan to come in and have a chat and just talk music.
But John talked about nothing but people like the Navac Show Band and Hutchinson, one of the Hutchinsons, Brendan Hutchinson, and all these people. And I was in total awe of this, and because it was like he'd arrived down for the weekend, and we literally talked nothing but what was happening in Cavan. The Nerves, the Rave Set was another band that John was involved in at the time, and he would have then, as John then went on to join show bands and stuff, and if he was playing in Dublin and stuff, we'd turn up to meet him, and maybe have a jar with him and stuff like that. And he would be talking again, and then I think it was ye had a gig, yourself and John and a couple of others had a gig in these no-name clubs at the time.
Yes,
all raving alcoholics and said go off to drink. And so you're very clear, typical Cavan, that we'll make money out of this. We'll non-alcoholic nights out. And that was where C60 was from. You
That's right.
The drummer in C60, and then we met several times.
And like yourself, I was working in Dublin at the time, and I remember Brian McCormick said, we're going to form this band. Would you come home?
Yeah.
And I hope that this is 1980 something, 1979.
Yeah.
Well, times were like they are now.
Yeah.
And I said, to hell with it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And you dive in. That's what you've got to do.
Well, the difference between then and now is that at those times were bad then, but they weren't really.
Yeah.
Now we're actually, we're actually have a car less in the house, or maybe a bathroom less in the house, or maybe one holiday instead of 2, or 3 holidays instead of 4. That's why it's different now. Those days we didn't know any better.
I know.
But I'd say, what were you doing in Dublin at the time, if you don't mind me asking?
I was driving a forklift.
Oh yeah.
I drove it for 4 years.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it stopped. Nice John. reminding me of that one. That is excellent.
Did you drive it home?
There was no roads in them days.
But there's a movie in that, you know.
No, of course there is.
The man who drove a forklift from Dublin to Cavan. I can just
Well, when I went for the job,
yeah,
and they said to me, "Can you drive a forklift?" And I said, "Yeah."
of course I
And
can.
they said, "Can you make tea?" And I said, "Geez, how big's your teapot?"
Yeah.
But Charlie, of course, Charlie is a Eurovision winner.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that again another time.
Yeah.
That's
Sorry,
it.
when did you see my eyes glaze over when you said that?
Well, I've told people about you winning, but it's a fantastic achievement, Charlie. Isn't
Well,
it?
we didn't see much as an achievement as a very big party.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
just had a ball, Paul Harrington and myself and Brendan, of course, Brendan Graham, who wrote Rock and Roll Kids. And I was 44 at the time, which is what most people would call old for Eurovision. And Paul was 10 years younger. And Brendan was 10 years older again.
Yes, yeah.
But we literally had an absolute ball. Now, we did it well. We did what we had to do well, but we had a lot of fun doing it. And it was one of those rare occasions where you get the chance to play to 500 million people on the television, singing a song that was like you could sing it in your sleep. It was such an easy song to sing, and such a lovely song.
But that's the trick.
Yeah, to find that. Yeah, and I think that's possibly what's wrong now. We think we're going for what people consider Eurovision song. Rather than just going for a song that's a good song and putting it into Eurovision, which is always what used to happen. Because I sat on juries for Eurovision for years with RTE, and we got 400 or 500 songs in. From any, it could be now you got some really, you get fellas singing in the bathroom for the echo and stuff like that. But every song was listened to, and out of that we had
a lot of question people ask me an awful lot is they never see it advertised. They never see. There's never a blurb saying, "Have you got a Eurovision song? Send it to." It seems to be.
It's closed shop. You'll find that there is an advertisement in some obscure way that maybe it's mentioned on late night radio or something like that, but people are never hearing. But in those days, there was a big deal made out of it, and it was run on a very, very strict. When we were judging the songs, there was a person from KPMG or one of the big accountancy firms sitting there watching exactly what we were doing, and it was they all had to be a nom de plume. As a matter of fact, Rock and Roll Kids was sent in the year previously, and I was on the judging panel, and because I was on the judging panel I had to sort of declare my interest because I knew Brendan Graham,
of course,
and I said, well, I have to sit back from this, and the song didn't qualify, didn't qualify the first year, but the following year I wasn't on the jury and it did qualify, and I ended up singing with Paul on it. It was a strange situation.
It's mad, and then you won it.
Yeah, that was kind of a surprise.
It's become a standard.
Yeah, it's a lovely song.
I've been at loads of gigs like yourself.
Yeah.
And it's one people get up and sing.
Oh yeah, it's such an easy song to sing, and it's a story song.
Yeah.
Brendan Graham wrote it about a night that he went to see Fats Domino in the National Stadium.
Brilliant.
And it was an early gig, 8 o'clock gig, and a lot of the people there had come from work. So there were still business guys in their pinstripe suits and their ties and shirts and the whole lot. Yeah. And by the end of the night, they were all out in the aisles, jumping around and dancing to Fats Domino. And he looked and he says, they're like rock and roll kids. And that's how he wrote the song.
Fantastic.
That's where the idea came from.
Fantastic. And performed together. And
yeah.
But you had the chemistry.
And literally, we never sang it the same way twice, ever. I remember the day we were doing it on the Kenny Live show, which was on a Saturday night.
Right.
There was a song each week for 8 weeks, and we met at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We sat down. Paul played the piano and I played the guitar, and whatever happened, that's.
Do you remember who you're up against?
No.
But
it's funny when you're in a competition like that. You hear all the songs and you think that's all right. Yeah, but as the night goes on, it's like remember the Cavan song?
Yes, of course, yeah.
You'd hear them at rehearsals, and then you'd hear them in the heat, and you think, and the more times you heard them, you go, oh, gee, that's a really good song, because at the beginning you're just hearing it once. And I remember the night we were on, there was the Maynooth Chamber Orchestra were on, the Chamber Choir were on, and they were on after us, and they literally applauded, and this was a really good choir. And I was thinking, what? There must be something in this song. There must be really something in what we were doing, some kind of. But you're the last to recognise any kind of chemistry.
Charlie, what was the moment like when you went, Jesus, we've done it?
Yeah. Well,
you're in the same category.
Yeah.
As, let's go back, Butch Moore.
Yeah.
Dana. ABBA.
Yeah.
I could name them all.
Yeah. But
you're in that.
You're in the moment at the time. And I remember we were sitting in the green room, and people kept saying that, oh, you can't be beaten now, and the guitar was over there, And people say, get the guitar now, you're going to have to go and do a reprise. And the votes weren't all in. And I was sort of saying, no, I can just see me picking up the guitar. And just pipped by 1 point, Ireland, and so I just sat there, and then I said, right. I think, Paul, because of the fact Paul and myself have a lot of experience in the business as well, so if we didn't win, we wouldn't have been particularly disappointed. You know what I mean? So
because you knew the run.
Yeah, we knew. You know, and even when we did win, we kind of figured, well, this will have a lifespan, as we thought, of 6 months. And little did I think I'd be still singing the song 20 years later, because it's 20 years ago, around this time. 20 years ago, you know. Which and
the thing about show business, and I'm always saying it to people, is show business is about disappointment. It's not about...
Well, you appreciate the highs. And the only reason that you appreciate the highs is because there are a lot of lows. You know, and you know, if you think of all the years we'd have spent singing in pubs, you did it, I did it,
absolutely,
singing in pubs, nobody listening to you and clattering away. So when something big happens, you kind of, you know, this is fun.
But were you shell shocked when it happened? Were you?
No, not so much shell shocked. It was, you know, I remember one time the very first big gig I ever did was at the Ballysadare Folk Festival around the 1980s, 83, 84. And I remember there were 12,000 people there, and I was shitting myself, to be quite honest. And this American guy came up to me with a big cowboy hat, and it turned out to be Dave Von Ronk, who, believe it or not, he's the fella that inside Llewyn Davis, he's the fella that character's based on.
Oh, right. The Coen Brothers film. It's out now as well, It
just shows you what a small world it is. And he came up to me and he said, you look kind of, you okay, man? You know, you look kind of pale in the face and stuff. And I said, well, it's 12,000, the first time I've ever played this kind of thing. He said, well, I'll say one thing to you. He said, don't forget to enjoy it. Don't forget to enjoy it. And I said, I hadn't thought of that. Hadn't thought of enjoying it.
Exactly,
So, and I remember saying the same to my son Shane. He was playing in his first Connacht final, and I was bringing him in into the Bush Hotel in Carrick, driving him in to get to where they were going to have the pre-match, his warm-up or whatever they were doing. And I just said the same thing to him. I said, you know, this is a big day for you, but don't forget to enjoy it, because it'll be gone.
Dad always said it to me.
Did he?
Yeah, he's always said, whatever you do, enjoy it.
And it was a great philosophy, because that's called living in the now.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, because a lot of the time we're thinking of what's up the road. You know, what you know, it'll be great now when I get the new car. Everything will be when I get the new guitar, or you know, when I get the new whatever it is. You know, the new fur coat or whatever it is. Whereas a lot of good things are happening and they're flying by, because we're not, you know. I read a lot of Michael Harding's articles in the Irish Times. Michael writes an article every Tuesday, and he had a wonderful book, Staring at Lakes, that's still in the bestsellers. You know, he's from Cavan.
Yes, of course.
Lives over in Leitrim, and he writes little pieces about the simple things that happen to him in his day. He puts them in and makes a wonderful, because everybody. That's what I would have said if I'd have been in that situation.
Exactly,
you know, and that's you know, it's just enjoying what's happening. Just this, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
You know, you and I probably don't think that.
No, I do, because
this is fun for me.
It's totally right. Seamus O'Rourke, that's another one.
Well, you see, there's a man, you know, a genius. an absolute genius. And I've known Seamus for the bones of 25, 30
Forever,
years. And I was constantly saying to him, you need to go professional.
I've said it here. I've said it here in this room. I've said it to him.
And it took him all that time, but he was right. Because he was enjoying what he was doing. He was the Cornwall Theatre Group. You know, they're just this year's production of The Devil's Kelly.
I haven't seen it now. It's in Cavan
awesome.
soon.
It's awesome. Absolutely awesome. I left the Cornwall Theatre a couple of weeks ago after seeing it. You know, and I've been talking about it for days and driving everybody daft.
Well, everybody has. Everybody's been saying it.
It's just wonderful, and that's from a small town, maybe 200 or 300 people, and they're producing world class drama. Seamus O'Rourke is writing world class drama.
Absolutely.
His Sandpark to me is a masterpiece. That play
I saw him in a room, chapter one, as you know, and he had us up, down, up. He would had us in.
He's absolutely brilliant. He does one where it's his father's on his deathbed, you know, and telling them stories, and it's called What Kind of an Idiot Are You?
Oh, I know it. Yeah.
And I believed it so much. I said, I didn't know your father was dead. And sure, he's not dead. He said, I just made it up.
Yeah.
You know, and
which is that's the trick.
That's what it's all about. You know, he's just we're so lucky.
Yeah.
This part of the world. You know, when you think, you know, I do the radio program every Saturday morning, and I literally have 15 pages on my laptop of things that are happening in the Shannonside, Northern Sound region, you know, Cavan, Monaghan.
It's incredible.
You could be out this week, for example. I've been at 5 plays this week, you know, and every single one of them were brilliant. You know, the production values, everything.
The standard is huge.
It's just believe. I was at a View from the Bridge last night in Roscommon. We were at a play called Boing Boing.
I saw that in Rama.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
Paul McIntyre.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
Oh,
Pat McKay.
no, you're thinking of the Bridge Below the Town.
Bridge Below the Town.
Yeah. Brilliant. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look at on your doorstep, Paul McIntyre. Genius. You know, the night Joe Doan's car broke down, the Carnival, Glenaduff. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. We're just blessed here.
Blessed, and it's great to see it.
Yeah.
We promised Charlie we wouldn't keep him too long, and as usual, when we start talking, he just is an absolute pleasure to talk to. But he's here to sing, and sing he will. What are you going to do for us, Charlie?
Well, you know, you were talking to the Mona Lisa. Incidentally, it's Mona Lisa twins.
Yes.
Not them Mona. We always tend to say
Mona Lisa,
yeah. And somebody said it's Ukraine. It's
Yes.
not the Ukraine. It's like calling Ireland the Ireland.
The Ireland, yeah.
Or the England.
The
or
Cavan.
the Scotland.
The
the Cavan. but they're so steeped in the 60s.
Yeah.
And of course we are as well. And I had the pleasure of going to McCartney's house as part of a little trip. We sat with my wife, it was about 5 years ago, so now we went over to Liverpool.
Goretti.
Yeah.
Hello, Goretti.
Yeah.
Put on. Haven't seen Goretti in years now.
We went to see Paul McCartney's house, and it was just such an experience.
Magic.
I cried a little bit, you know, from and it was nice. There were happy tears.
Of course, yeah.
And there was a fella there, the Caretaker Dare, who was literally. He lived in the house, and you know he had the most fortune. Anytime McCartney came one day and he had the key, and of course your mum was down the town in the pub and missed McCartney and stuff like this, and it just I kind of thought of this song and Maxie, who's a friend of mine, you know Maxie.
Of course I do, yes.
She's a friend of mine, and she had been as well, and between the two of us, we came up with this song, which is called about the caretaker and about the ghosts in the house. Imagine if you're sleeping in the house and the different ghosts that are wandering about. And it's called The Man from 20. It goes like this. I'm the man from 20. Kindly form a cue. Those who do remember, let me look at you. Yes, I'm the man from 20, and I've yet to see his face. I get a burger from the takeaway, and it's back to his place. They've got his old piano here, and someone played a tune, and someone sang along with them, and we danced around the room. Yes, I'm the man from 20, and I've been me for a year. Teary eyes and silence, and I deadened it with beer. Once he came and knocked, he didn't have a key, and I was busy shopping when he needed me. Oh, I hate dancing sober, 'cause I feel like such a fool. Well, I'm a Liverpool loafer, and they say I must be cool. Mary calls at midnight, and there's flour on her hands. She talks of tiny babies, angels in the sand. Michael's on his bicycle, says he saw our kid. Jimmy trims the hedges as she watches from the bed. Minnie's at the inn, letters for the queen, collars shaped like roundabouts are the things I've seen. And early in the morning, ladies come to stay. Jenny puts her penny on and she says Daddy isn't here. Yes, I'm the man from 20, kindly form a queue. Those who do remember, let me look at you. You know, Paul, you can't just sing a song about the Beatles without singing a Beatles song. And one of my favourite ones is this one. I'm looking through you. When did you go? I thought I knew you. What did I know? You don't look different, but you have changed. I'm looking through you. You're not the same. don't sound different, I've learned the game. I'm looking through you, you're not the same. Why, tell me, why did you not treat me right? Love has a nasty habit of disappearing overnight. You're thinking of me the same old way. You were above me, but not today. The only difference is that you're down there. I'm looking through you, but you're nowhere. Why, tell me, why did you not treat me right? Love has a nasty habit of disappearing overnight. I'm looking through you, where did you go? I thought I knew you, what did I know? You don't sound different, but you have changed. I'm looking through you, you're not the same.
The reason for music, Charlie McGettigan. That's absolutely.
Great song though, isn't it? I'm looking through
Anne
you.
Murray had a hit with that.
Really?
Yep.
And you know where I heard it last was Steve Earle had a lovely version of it. You know the great Steve Earle?
And yes, and the Muppets had a version
Yeah.
of it.
Wouldn't it be great, you know, when you think of it, the amount of covers of Beatles songs there are about, you know,
Oh.
the amount of people. I mean, when Yesterday was out, I remember Matt Monroe had a lovely
Oh, yeah.
version of it out, you know.
Had a hit
And
with
when Michelle was out, there was a band called the Overlanders
Yeah.
had it out. You know,
They had a
people
hit.
did covers of
Yeah.
current songs in those days.
it.
Great
Oh
time.
bloody, oh bloody.
Oh yeah, the Marmalade.
Yeah.
We went to see the Marmalade one time in saw them twice. For once in the Bavisi Ballroom in Donegal Town. Great guitar player called Junior Campbell in that band.
Oh yeah.
Who played a version of Hey Joe, Hendrix's Hey Joe, in their set.
He had a bit of successful solo career.
He did.
Hallelujah Freedom.
Hallelujah Freedom. Is right.
Brilliant song.
I wonder what happened to him.
I think they're still going. I think
The Marmalade. Well, Dean Ford, who is the lead singer, he has a beautiful album. I've seen it on YouTube and on Facebook. He has. I'm on his Facebook page, and he's still. Mind you, he looks a bit like you now.
Yeah.
You know.
But he's money.
Yeah. No, hey, I'd say I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think those bands really. There wasn't an awful lot of money about then, or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
was sort of mopped up by managers and agents and all kinds of people, record companies and
For the
stuff like that.
pound, shillings and pence.
Yeah,
Larry
but
Pounds and
that's
all
why
that.
Parnes,
Yeah,
Larry Parnes.
Larry-
Oh yeah,
Larry
I
Parnes.
love looking at those old documentaries
Yeah,
about
oh,
Larry
fabulous.
Parnes and the bands, Billy Fury and all those.
There's one out now, Charlie. You have to see it. It won an Oscar there recently. I was talking about it to somebody yesterday. 20 Feet from Stardom,
What's that?
about backing singers,
Oh man,
and it's Linda Lewis, Tina Charles,
Kiki D.
all them.
Kiki D was great
20
back
Feet
then.
from Stardom.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
won an Oscar. It's one of these films, probably the best film in the Oscars.
I didn't know about
Yeah,
that.
20 Feet from Stardom.
I must write that down.
There was one on BBC4 the other night about Muscle Shoals.
Oh, the studio. I missed that as well.
Oh,
I heard
you
people
have to see
talking
that.
about it. Yeah. The great thing about BBC Four and Sky Arts and stuff, that they repeat them again.
Yeah.
And there was the one that really captured my imagination. Really was Kisses on the Bottom, which was Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
He made an album of standards, songs that they used to
Yeah.
sing in that little house that we were
Yes,
talking about,
yeah.
20 Fortune Road. He made an album of standards, beautiful songs, beautiful album. But he went into the Capitol Recording Studios with an orchestra, with people, with great, the girl on the piano, I can't think of her name now, beautiful singer on piano. Could come back to me.
Elvis Costello's wife.
Could be.
What's her name?
Yes.
The jazz.
Yeah, the jazz singer.
What's
Her.
her name? What's her
Yeah.
name? Keep talking. It'll come to
Anyway,
me. It'll
but-
come to me.
But he
I can see her.
he literally sang just with the orchestra, and he was in awe himself of
Yeah,
these
oh,
musicians
yeah.
around him. There was no such thing as I'm Paul McCartney,
No.
the star, and for that reason he sang beautifully. And I went out and I bought the album afterwards. It's called Kisses on the Bottom. A lot of kisses.
Yes, I know it,
on
yeah,
the bottom.
I know the
You know,
album.
it's a great album.
One of the great anecdotes I know about Paul McCartney that I've read, whether it's true or not, there's so many, that he travels on the tube in London when he's going to Abbey Road or wherever, and he says he sees people looking at him, and he always goes, "No, I'm not." And they walk away
Yeah.
looking at him going, you know.
Well, I had the same experience. We were at a wedding a few years ago in Kettering in England, and we were going over from Knock Airport, and down the queue, you know the way snakes around.
Yes, yeah,
down
yeah.
the queue, who did I see? Only Louis Walsh.
Yes, yeah.
And I said, "Oh God." Really don't, you know. And eventually he came up beside me and I said, "How are you, Louis?" You know, "I'm not Louis. I said, I'm his brother." And his brother is just a spitting image of him. And it turned out his brother was going to the same wedding we were going to. So we spent the entire weekend with him. A loveliest fella. So on, like
Louis
he lays floors, wooden floors. But everywhere we went, people came up and asked for his autograph. And he signed away as if he never said it, made anybody any otherwise. It's the easiest way out of it. You know?
Of course it is, yeah.
Yeah, rather than...
And Louis has a strong association around here that nobody knows about. Like
really?
you said, the Cavan Song Contest, he was a judge for years on that.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, he was on it. With,
but wasn't the Cavan... Isn't it such a pity that the Cavan Song Contest... When you remember when they had the band, you know, Earl Gill and all that, John Curran, you know, all the musicians, all the great musicians. Yeah, and it was a great week. It used to have heats and stuff like that, and the parties are legendary. Like
maybe that's what's needed.
Oh God, it is. Oh God, it is without a doubt. Live musicians. I brought the grandkids to the pantomime in the National Concert Hall this year, mainly because there was a live band.
Yeah.
A big full orchestra in the front, and you know they're big into music. My grandkids, and they just literally they loved it, you know, because it's real.
Yes,
it's real. You know,
I've taken people to orchestras and I said you won't realise what you. It's brilliant watching on telly, listening on the radio, listening on the headphones. I said, but when you can feel it sweeping over you.
Yeah, and I think there's a definite. You're talking about chemistry.
Yeah.
And there is I mean, music is a spiritual thing, and it's, you know, you can't say why you like a certain song and don't like another song, you know. But so for that reason, when people are playing it, there's a chemistry that develops between the listener and the audience. But if you're listening to a backing track, you know, it's good and all that, but it's not.
No, it's not the same. It's not the same.
You know, I think a lot of people, believe it or not, I'd say a lot of people have never heard live music.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, a lot of young people,
you know,
the only thing, and they think it's switch on, switch off. You know, and that's what music is. But if they've experienced once the magic of a live show, you know,
band,
and up close and personal, because we all got we were lucky. When we got to stand at the foot of the stage at the Astoria Ballroom and watch everybody that your heroes were, or whoever, you probably did it here in
Cavan,
you know,
got to see, and then as time went on,
and you would have had drum heroes in the show bands and stuff. And funny, one of our heroes at the time was I can't think of his name, the boy at the gate, Danny Ellis.
Yes,
a trombone player, and John Hannigan and myself often talk about him, but he has a wonderful book that he wrote, and believe it or not, he went to Artane, you know, where he was abandoned by his mother at 8 years.
I heard him on the radio talking about it.
Didn't get out for 16 years. But if he hadn't gone to Artane, he never would have been a musician.
Yeah.
And so he's a very hopeful guy, and funny, there's a clip on Facebook of him. He has the book out now in America, and he's beginning to gather momentum. People, and he was on a television program talking about this. But he would never have been a musician, more than likely, if he hadn't gone in. And yet he describes the horror of it, but he also describes the joy of discovering music and discovering literature. He read every single book that was in the place.
And music saved his life.
Yeah. Music, of course, it's saved all our lives.
Well, it did. And
could you imagine what your life would have been like without it?
Well, it's just it doesn't bear thinking about, because I've said to people, this is what we do.
Yeah.
This is it. This is because they say, what?
Yeah.
Music, what?
But isn't it funny how so many people related to money?
Oh,
and
yeah,
they're related to fame, and they're related to, you know, it's all about, sure, you must be making a fortune.
Oh, yeah.
And you're judged not by your music, but how much money you're making.
Exactly.
You know, but it's not about that at all. You know, it's been part of my life since the first song I ever sang.
Go on, Charlie.
Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. Never let it fade away. Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. Save it for a rainy day. 'Cause a love may come and tap you on the shoulder some starlit night. And just in case you feel you wanna hold her, you'll have a pocket full of starlight. Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. Never let it fade away. Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. Save it for a rainy day. And when your troubles start to multiply, and they just might, it's easy to forget them without trying. With just a pocket full of starlight. pocket full of starlight. Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. Never let it fade away. Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. Save it for a rainy day. Save it for a rainy day. Save it for a rainy day.
What a feel you have with that guitar.
Well,
your singing is great and the songwriting is great, but you have a feel there.
Well, it's kind of party though, isn't it? You know the same way that rhythm is a part of what you are. I guarantee you find it very hard not to beat some the table or a spoon or something when there's something you like. You know,
that's what it was going there.
Yeah.
That song, Charlie. Now here's where music comes into it again. I heard they give John Lydon, Johnny Rotten, his own show on BBC Radio 2. Tell us what you like. Perry Como.
Really?
Yeah, he played it, yeah. But that's it. You see, people have this, like you said there, people have this, you see this aggressive man and this persona he portrays.
Funny, Dave Davies was on a radio recently as well, and I was surprised at some of the songs that he picked out. Dave Davies from the Kinks.
Yeah.
You know, I was expecting, you know, there were some soul songs there, but there were also some very, very sweet songs. And
but you have to have it all.
Yeah,
There is, people say to me, what be put on a CD there. Everything would be on.
Yeah.
And you have to have that mix.
Is that still? You see, you'd be more aware now of what's going on today.
Not really.
Is it there? Like, is it like?
Not really. No.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Sometimes I'm reluctant to say that because I say, well, I'm just an old fogey and whatever.
No. It's another show, as they say.
You listen to Mona Lisa Twins, and you know when you sent me that, I think first of all you sent me a YouTube clip, and then I said, God, that is just great because there's such it's. You see, the 60s there was a certain innocence, there was a certain vibrancy about it, and the songs are very simple. She loves you, you know, whatever it was. But you know, there was an energy there, and I think those girls have captured that.
Yeah.
You know, they've captured a certain amount of energy there, which is really, really good. You know, and I'm delighted when something like that. It's lovely when you're sitting there and the mundane and the ordinary keep flying past you, and then suddenly, you know, you
like
see
a ray of light.
Yeah, it's great. You know, and the Stripes, of course. You know.
That's what I say to people I work with and stuff like that about the Stripes, and I say, this is our World Cup.
Yeah.
This is our All Ireland. You know.
I mean, it's just amazing. I remember when Jeremy Walsh told me about them, and then Niall brought them. They were a few 3 or 4 times on the radio program. Yeah. And they came in as little innocent boys, and they told me about Willie Dixon, you know, and as if I would never have heard of him. You know? And they had discovered Willie Dixon and the Yardbirds and all this kind of stuff, and it was just brilliant. And you know, the energy they create. I remember one that we played. They came on a live broadcast I was doing from Castleblaney one day, and I remember it was Monaghan Town, and they came into the place, and as a unit, 4 people came in the entrance. And people kind of turned. This would have been 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Came in and people kind of turned, and they looked at them and they had little waistcoats and forever like the 60s.
Oh yes, of course.
And they got up to sing, and there were people like we do the outside broadcast, and it's like a bank. You know, people coming in doing their business, and they got up to they started saying that, and everything stopped, and everybody stopped. 8 to 80 were mesmerised.
Chemistry.
By this. Yeah, and it was just they have that. Yeah. Whatever it is that people are looking for, they had it.
Well, again, when
you couldn't invent that.
When you see the Muscle Shoals thing, and you see the guys that's in the band, 4 most unlikely fellas.
Yeah, just make that sound.
Back in Wilson Pickett.
Yeah.
Aretha Franklin. Yeah. They made Aretha Franklin. It's mad.
Yeah.
And again, it's like the Stripes, and we've said it too. The Stripes, you know, this chemistry you have. You can't be formulated.
And to perfect again, I hope those youngsters are living in the now and understanding and enjoying what they're doing. Because I'd say even the Beatles, they got on such a fast merry-go-round that they probably, you know, really didn't appreciate a lot of it. Because I met George Martin one time in UTV. We were doing the Kelly show in UTV. And George Martin was one of the guests. And, you know, when you meet somebody like that, what am I going to say, you know? And I just said to him, I said... you must have a lot of stuff that you kept, souvenirs of the period when you discovered the Beatles, and he said he hadn't because he was an in-house producer. They were coming in as a band. you know, they didn't seem particularly special, but they were special, but not particularly so. And he would record, and one thing led to a first album and second album, and he was sort of in the background, and he didn't really understand the historical thing he was involved with at the time. At the time, he just didn't appreciate it. He just knew they were making wonderful music, and he didn't actually, it's like you asked me about the Eurovision. A lot of them, luckily enough, that man told me to enjoy the moment, and I do remember a lot of it.
Yes,
I remember, a lot of I remember enjoying it. It was one of the most enjoyable 3 minutes to being on stage.
Absolutely.
It was so easy to work with Paul. We weren't on a backing track. There was nothing going to really.
Well, I can tell you how it was for us. Watching somebody winning such a major thing, we were going, oh my God, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. Like, it's like Italia 90, it sticks in my mind like that. When people say key moments in your life, and you say, Charlie and Paul winning the Eurovision.
Well, it wasn't like that really, because we just enjoyed singing the song a lot of the time, and I think that's essential. If you don't enjoy it when you're doing it, the audience won't enjoy it, and it doesn't come across. Yeah,
so that's what I'm saying. We were watching it. It was like, go on, go for it, go. And then the scoring was going. These boys could do this. They could actually do it.
I began to pinch myself as well. And this can't be happening. We're going to win this bloody thing. And half of the time, what's going through your head is, I wonder will I be able to get down for the football match that's on tomorrow. And Shane was playing in an under 21 match, the next day, or the day after the following day, and I was going to miss this. Half of these things are rolling through your head,
and people don't think you're thinking, but you are. You're living.
There's a lot of stuff happening, all at one time, but you're kind of you're thinking, how's this going to. How am I going to get from A to B? And I remember we went around a tour of all these places, these nightclubs that night. And I remember we were brought to see. Paddy Cole was playing in the Burlington, and we were brought along to the Burlington. And Paddy asked us up to sing, and to me, I was just, I'm singing with Paddy Cole.
Paddy,
and I thought this is magic here. I'm on the same stage as Paddy Cole. It was just. That kind of thing.
Will you sing us out?
Well, I suppose I could. As the fella says, what do we think? What'll I sing now? Why don't we do Rock and Roll Kids? Sure.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute, what you've seen, I don't have to say it, gentlemen, pleasure. Charlie McGettigan with his Eurovision winning song.
Well, Brendan Graham.
No, you can't take away from yourself like that. Brendan Graham is massive songwriter.
Oh yeah, You Raise Me Up.
You Raise Me Up. That's
great guy.
Incredible stuff.
Anyway, here we go. Just wanted to rock and roll forevermore. You sing it there, Paul, and I'll back you up.
Oh yeah.
We were the rock and roll kids. Rock and roll was all we did. Listening to those songs on the radio. I was yours and you were mine. That was once upon a time. Now we never seem to rock and roll anymore. Now Johnny's in love with the girl next door. Mary's down at the record store. They don't want to be around us no more. Golden oldies, but we hardly upon a time. Now we never seem to rock and roll anymore. I was yours and you were mine. That was once upon a time. Now we never seem to rock and roll. We just never seem to rock and roll anymore. Irlanda, doucement.
Ah, Irlanda, the winners, the winner. What an exclusive there. And we haven't even touched the surface of Charlie's career. We haven't even skimmed the people you've worked with, your songs you've written.
Do you know why that is? We're talking too much.
But we will have Charlie back in again. There's no doubt about it. We've run out of time again this week. It always when we get a fantastic guest like, well, he's not a guest, he's a friend. Ladies and gentlemen, Charlie McGettigan. Charlie, thank you so much for
great
joining.
Great fun,
great fun, and it was worth the wait. It was worth the wait, but we're not finished with him yet because we will get him back in for an in-depth talk about your entire career.
Yeah, we go really deep this time.
No, you've fantastic stories to tell.
60 foot.
That is deep. That's all we've got time for on the Green Room this week. Next week, well, it's a surprise. I say every week, but next week it really is a surprise. Following St. Patrick's Day, we have a surprise guest coming in. Thanks to Charlie, thanks to the Mona Lisa twins. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next week. Paul Cox saying bye-bye. Charlie McGettigan saying bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.